in 2003, right? Your contract was forcefully, violated, and you guys were off from that contract. The government at that time took that decision. You, to my understanding, you reached the court, you filed a petition in 2009. So there's this gap of 6 years, to my understanding. What, held you for like 6 years and, approaching the legal option after 6 years? I mean, what was the reason, and what did you do in this all time?
Well, we hired the law firm of Hunton and Williams, and we were gathering the evidence and putting it together. And NAB approached us and they said, let's settle this thing. We said, let's talk. And in 2007, we settled IAR, but I told Mr. International Asset Recovery, we settled that, but I told in explicit and clear terms to Mr. Amer Bilal Sufi that Broadsheet was not in a position to settle because it'd been liquidated, it's gone into bankruptcy as a result of the malfeasance and the fraud perpetrated upon it by the government of Pakistan. And so we need to restore it to the register. And I was quite clear. I told Sufi, we can't deal with you on Broadsheet. And yet he went and dealt with Jerry James on the basis of documents which I invite your television company to ask the NAB to give you. A first-year law student would see that's a fraudulent agreement. There are gaps in the sentences that are incomplete in their contracts. There are companies that didn't ever exist. Broadsheet was a company in the Isle of Man, and there are references there to Broadsheet Gibraltar, Steeplechase, Colorado. If Amer Bilal Sufi had been serious, he would have looked at that and said, I've been told by Mr. Musavi that Broadsheet doesn't exist, and yet I've come here to deal with a bunch of crooks who are telling me that this is Broadsheet. I should ask the basic question, is this the same Broadsheet that I've been instructed to come and settle? So the answer to your question is, NAB told us that, yes, as soon as we were ready to begin, they came and said, no, let's settle. They sent Sufi over, we sat with him, we settled IAR, it was a small matter, and we thought we'll cut a deal, and they made a payment and we called it a day. But the real meat was in Broadsheet, because that's the one that
right. This is what you guys did in 2007, right, sir? That's what you said?
That was settled in 2007, yes. 7,
right. So the contract violated in 2003. Again, these 4 years, what you guys were doing in these 4 years just to, approach?
No, the contract was ended at the end of 28th of October 2003.
Right.
And of 2003, we were engaged in some discussions. General Hafiz came over, and I asked General Hafiz, I said, if you think the contract has been lawfully terminated, why have you come 4,000 miles from Pakistan? Why don't you just write a letter and call it a day? I put it to you, you're here because you know what you've done is unlawful. I put it to you, you're here because you know that you are sacking these companies because they're coming too close to the stolen money of the people who are powerful in Pakistan. Of course, he said, I'm willing to give you £500,000 to go away. I said, given what we've found, we owed at least £50 million. So it's missing 2 zeros.
So did you tell someone here in Pakistan about this?
Sorry?
Did you tell someone here in Pakistan about this?
I told General Hafiz to his face at the office of Kendall Friedman.
Right. Okay. Moving ahead. There's also... Okay, please go ahead.
No, your question, what were you doing between 2003?
Yes.
In fact, what were you doing between 2004 and 2007? That's what you're asking.
Yes.
Beginning of 2004 and the middle of 2007. In the middle of 2006, we were told, let's talk. And we said, fine, let's talk. It took them another year or so to get their act together, and they came and they settled with one, and they engaged in the sham that Sir Anthony Evans found that it was a conspiracy to defraud. It was your government at the time and your NAB at the time engaged in what a High Court judge in London called a conspiracy to defraud. You may wish to reflect upon that.
Right. So